Hello, and welcome to In Case You Missed It, Black Audacity Style, where we bring you up to speed today on last week's news and hot topics that you may have missed. I'm LaWanda Morris, CEO of Black Audacity Magazine and host for this evening. Now, today, I'll be discussing highlights from the first presidential debate and so much more. So pour yourself a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into it. Look, our country is currently in one of the biggest political races and fights for democracy we have ever seen. And under all of the memes, TikToks, and news coverage of the first presidential debate and potentially the last, for this cycle anyway, it can really be easy to forget that the presidency isn't the only battle we are fighting for on the ballots this year. So remember to pay close attention to your local and your state elections up and down the ballot, and stay vigilant. Because your vote is your voice. Now let's get into the debate. The presidential debate hosted by ABC News took place on Tuesday, the 10th, in Philadelphia at 9 p.m. Now, while Trump was out there trying to rewrite history, there is no real question about who actually won the debate. I think we can all agree that Vice President Harris wiped the floor with Donald Trump. Of course she won. Of course she won. She demolished him. She answered every question, addressed it from all perspectives. She showed voters what she could do for them. She talked about it by discussing policy and not just what she had to gain personally, like Donald Trump, of course. While Trump babbled away with his ludicrous conspiracy theories about crowd sizes, denials of his involvement in Project 2025, his racist lies about Haitian immigrants, stealing and eating pets in Springfield, Ohio, and attempting and failing to attack VP Harris's character and her policies. He should be ashamed of this very, very pathetic performance, but of course, we know he's not. Now, the debate itself was about an hour and 45 minutes long, and it allowed for 2 minutes of rebuttal time after each candidate responded to the questions being asked. Now, that time is very valuable. It allows you to build your defense, and to clear up any misunderstandings. But even with that extra time and the extra 5 minutes that Donald Trump had, he could not seem to find his feet during the debate, choosing to talk about nothing except immigration, refusing to directly answer questions regarding the GOP's plan to make Trump's abortion ban a national ban since he overturned Roe v. Wade. And of course, spreading lies with no regard to the dangers that fake news can have on people's lives. He just doesn't care, which has already caused bomb threats against schools and government buildings in Springfield, Ohio. On the other side of the stage, however, VP Harris spoke to voters everywhere about bringing back her humane border policies. She addressed tax breaks for families and for small business owners. She talked about reviving America's middle class, which is the backbone of this economy. And she also discussed how she would sign a bill to effectively reinstate Roe versus Wade, giving back the power to women to have control over their own bodies, as opposed to Donald Trump, who I believe became the first presidential candidate to ever be fact-checked at a presidential debate. And that's because of his absolutely outrageous lies, including his racist lie about the Haitian immigrants, and about them, also lies about babies being murdered after birth as a form of legal abortion. We all know it's ridiculous, but there are some folks out there who might otherwise believe this nonsense if it weren't for fact checking. So kudos to the moderators. This debate should serve as a wake-up call to the American voters who are still supporting former President Trump, and those who are undecided. On full display was his unpreparedness and for the position, and just how little he cares about this country and its citizens. And as always, we will be including highlights of the debate at the end of this video, along with a segment breakdown of Project 2025 to keep you, the voters, informed. So please be sure to stick around for that. Now, since the debate occurred that night, VP Harris has continued to ride the momentum, ride the waves from her win, continuing her rallies and publishing new campaign commercials and ads against Donald Trump, while Trump's campaign is struggling to keep up. He even recently had held an emergency press conference after the drop in his poll ratings. Trump's latest attention stunt was front and center after Taylor Swift formally endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president on her IG account to her over 280 million followers. And in this post, immediately following the debate, Swift called Harris the people's champion. Now, while Elon Musk on the other side and Donald Trump have taken to hate posting and degrading Taylor, specifically Donald Trump posted, "I hate Taylor Swift" in all capital letters, and is all in a panic as her Harris endorsement caused over 400,000 visits to vote.gov's website. So now we have to ask the question, was this attack against Taylor Swift really just a disgusting, impulsive move? Or was it a distraction from just how behind his campaign really is in this presidential race? Or was it meant to be a distraction from his current rumored affair with Laura Loomer, also a racist? No one knows. But remember to visit iwillvote.com to register, to check your voter registration status, to register to vote, to make a plan to vote, and then to vote. Please like, subscribe, and let us know what you think down below in the comments. And also stick around for our highlights from the debate and the excerpts that we've included on the dangers of Project 2025.
Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. They have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And
let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Terry, understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
There has been a marked rise in far-right violent extremism in America, the January 6th insurrection being just the largest example. Project 2025, the far-right blueprint for a second Trump presidency, would not only protect, but in some cases amplify this kind of extremism. Now, I talk about Project 2025 on every single show. Some of its extremist proposals are stated quite directly and explicitly. Some are cloaked. But all of the threats in this document are real, and they are, in fact, all tied to Donald Trump, despite his tireless and dishonest efforts to distance himself from them and from Project 2025 as a whole. So today, we're going to look at Chapter 17, entitled The Department of Justice. Project 2025 would take an axe to federal investigations of conservative hate groups and far-right extremism, dismissing these threats as, quote, manufactured extremism. Experts warn that dismantling government scrutiny of what is currently the nation's top national security threat would allow these groups to thrive and to expand. The Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, who played a key role in the January 6th insurrection, underscore the rising threat of far-right violence to our democratic institutions. When many of those insurrectionists were prosecuted, it exposed the troubling infiltration of right-wing extremism into the U.S. military. NPR found that nearly 1 in 5 individuals charged for their involvement in the Capitol attack had served or were currently serving in the military. In response, the Department of Defense under the Biden administration undertook a series of measures following January 6th to address extremist infiltration into the military. Project 2025 targets those efforts directly. On page 52, the blueprint calls for the National Security Council to righteously review the military's responsibility and move away from prioritizing what it calls non-defense and social matters, social engineering, like, quote, manufactured extremism that it says weaken our armed forces. On page 160, by the way, which is not part of the chapter on national security, on the Department of Justice, it directs the Department of Homeland Security to reassess its, quote, domestic terrorism lines of effort to align with a future Republican president, presumably Donald Trump's priorities. The blueprint on page 549 calls for, quote, an immediate comprehensive review of all major active FBI investigations and activities, and proposes that the FBI redirect its focus to other threats. Okay, so what are the other threats? Rather than domestic violent white nationalist extremism, the threats it would like the FBI to focus on are affirmative action and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, the FBI. The plan specifically calls for the Department of Justice to be reorganized to target entities that practice affirmative action, or DEI. In other words, today's Republican Party sees diversity as the top national security threat and plans to treat it as such. You cannot make this stuff up. The DOJ policing DEI. Last year, the Southern Poverty Law Center added 12 conservative so-called parents' rights groups to its list of extremist organizations, warning that certain hate groups have shifted their tactics since the insurrection, operating under the banner of parental rights in order to push an anti-government white nationalist agenda. And one of those groups is, you guessed it, Moms for Liberty. Project 2025 slams the FBI's scrutiny of those groups, accusing the Department of Justice on page 545 of this document of chilling the free speech rights of parents. Never mind that those parents are actually attacking the First Amendment right that states explicitly that, quote, the government shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, end quote. On page 548 of this document, Project 2025 accuses the FBI of harassing protesting parents, whom it claims are unfairly being labeled as domestic terrorists, which they are not. Experts warn that Project 2025 would remove crucial safeguards protecting our institutions and the public from the growing threat of far-right hate groups, allowing them to expand. Joe Moore, a former FBI informant who tracked police ties to the KKK, warns that domestic extremist groups are being mobilized as, quote, frontline shock troops, end quote, in the event of a contested election. He found that some Florida police officers were active Klan members recruiting other Klan members into law enforcement. A Reuters investigation indicates that a significant number of U.S. police instructors have ties to a constellation of armed right-wing militias. Militias are illegal in this country, by the way, and white supremacist hate groups, a report that adds to a fast-growing body of evidence showing a deadly threat inside U.S. police departments. Project 2025's agenda could allow these ties to grow, since on page 557, it calls for eliminating all consent decrees issued by the Department of Justice. When the Justice Department finds evidence of misconduct within a state or local government agency like a police department, it issues one of these decrees, a consent decree, which creates and enforces a roadmap for change. Consent decrees are used to curb civil rights abuses against people of color, the mentally ill, the disabled, things like that. Moore, who previously served abroad in authoritarian countries, tells The Guardian, quote, "Nothing I witnessed in any of them scares me as much as what we're facing at home right now. Should we be afraid? With the 2024 election looming and democracy itself on the ballot, the answer is yes, we should be very afraid."
Well, that's all for now. I hope you have enjoyed today's segment of In Case You Missed It, Black Audacity Style. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and turn on those notifications so that you can see more Black Audacity Magazine YouTube content show up in your feed. I'm LaWanda Morris, CEO of Black Audacity Magazine, and we are unapologetically and unambiguously Black Audacity. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next week. Please stick around for a brief word from our sponsors. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Black Skin Beauty. Black Skin Beauty is that black don't crack kind of beauty, y'all, that we all want, and now that we all can have with Black Skin Beauty's new youthful regimen. Black Skin Beauty can help you get your skin all the way together. Black Skin Beauty offers a revolutionary 3-step youthful skin regimen to help your skin look and feel younger than ever before. Check out their website at www.blackskinbeauty.com. That's BLKSKNBEAUTY.com to enter for a chance to win free products and to get 10% off. Black Skin Beauty, that black don't crack kind of beauty. Check them out on Instagram today at Black Skin Beauty.